The fastest way to trigger an immediate rejection is misleading metadata, specifically violating Apple Guideline 2.3.10 or the Google Spam policy. All submitted screenshots must accurately reflect the current application version running on the correct device size. Never use device frames unless platform guidelines explicitly permit them. Keyword stuffing in the subtitle, promotional text, or description fields guarantees rejection. Instead, focus on unique value propositions without repetition. If your application supports multiple languages, you must localize all metadata fields, including screenshots, for every storefront. Remove all outdated or placeholder text from the description before initiating the submission process. Verify that the application name and icon do not closely resemble existing popular applications, which triggers intellectual property infringement checks under Apple 5.2.1. Always use the official App Store Connect or Google Play console tools for metadata updates. Direct application programming interface manipulation for keyword injection is strictly prohibited. A publicly accessible, non-editable uniform resource locator linking directly to the privacy policy is mandatory for all applications collecting user data, enforcing Apple Guideline 5.1.1 and the Google User Data Policy. The policy must explicitly detail precisely what data is collected, how that data is used, and the specific retention periods. For iOS applications, if the application tracks user activity across other applications or websites, the App Tracking Transparency Framework must be implemented. Add the NS User Tracking Usage Description key to the Info.plist file, providing a clear explanation for the tracking request. The request tracking authorization method must be called, and the user's consent received before any tracking code is initialized or data collection begins. Google requires matching disclosures in the Play Console's data safety section, which must align precisely with the application's actual data handling practices and collected data types. Rejection 2.1, App Completeness, is triggered when the application crashes, contains broken links, or exhibits significant, reproducible bugs. Before submission, test the application thoroughly on both the minimum supported operating system version and the latest stable operating system release candidate. Utilize Xcode's Organizer or Google Play Vitals to identify and resolve the top crash points reported by users or internal testers. All external uniform resource locators, including support, privacy, and terms of service links, must resolve correctly and lead to active, functional pages. Placeholder content, such as coming soon sections or dummy data, must be removed or replaced entirely with functional content. If the application relies on a back-end server, ensure the server is stable, scalable, and accessible globally throughout the entire review process. Incomplete features or non-functional buttons will result in immediate rejection under this guideline. Applications lacking sufficient utility or those identified as mere repackaged templates face rejection under Apple Guideline 4.2, minimum functionality, or Google's repetitive content policy. If you utilize a template or an application generator, you must add significant, unique features, proprietary content, or highly customized user interface elements. Simple web views that only display content already available on a mobile website are insufficient for approval. The application must offer native functionality. This includes features like offline access, platform-specific integrations, or unique data processing capabilities. Submitting multiple applications based on the same codebase with only minor configuration changes is strictly prohibited by both platforms. You must demonstrate a clear, specific purpose that justifies the application's existence beyond basic content aggregation or simple display. Digital goods and services consumed entirely within the application, such as subscriptions, game currency, or premium features, must exclusively use Apple's StoreKit or the Google Play billing library. Enforcing Apple Guideline 3.1.1. Using external payment methods like PayPal or Stripe for digital content constitutes a critical violation. Physical goods or services consumed outside the application, such as physical merchandise or hotel bookings, are exempt and may utilize third-party payment processors. Ensure all purchase flows include server-side receipt validation to prevent fraud and maintain platform compliance. You must clearly define the subscription terms, including renewal rates and cancellation methods, directly within the application interface. Failure to implement the required platform billing system correctly and completely results in immediate rejection during the review process. Reviewers must be able to fully test all features, including those gated behind a login or a paywall, as mandated by Apple Guideline 1.1.6. Provide active, non-expiring login credentials, including a username and password, in the Notes for Reviewer section of App Store Connect or the App Access section of the Google Play console. If your application uses two-factor authentication, temporarily disable it for the provided review account, or include the necessary verification codes in the notes. Ensure the provided account has access to all premium or gated content that the reviewer needs to evaluate for functionality. If the application requires specific hardware or a unique environmental setup to function, provide a detailed video demonstration or clear, step-by-step instructions on how to replicate the required environment for testing. Using copyrighted material, trademarks, or proprietary assets without explicit written permission constitutes a violation under Apple Guideline 5.2 and the Google Intellectual Property Policy. Remove all third-party logos, character names, or proprietary sound effects unless the developer holds the necessary licensing rights. If the application is based on a specific brand or intellectual property, upload the legal documentation proving ownership or licensing directly to the review team during the submission process. Ensure that all open source libraries used within the application comply with their respective licenses, such as MIT or Apache 2.0, and that required attributions are included in the application's settings or documentation. Never use protected terms in keywords or metadata that suggest any affiliation with a major brand or entity. Never resubmit the application until every single point listed in the rejection notice has been fully addressed and internally verified. Use the Resolution Center on App Store Connect or the Policy Status page on the Google Play console to communicate directly with the review team. When formulating your response, cite the specific guideline number and explain precisely how the fix was implemented, providing evidence. This evidence should include screenshots or video demonstrations of the corrected functionality. If appealing a policy interpretation, clearly state why the application complies with the guideline, referencing the official platform documentation. For critical rejections, utilize the App Review Board appeal form on Apple as the formal final step, providing a concise, factual argument supported by verifiable evidence. Always maintain a professional and respectful tone throughout the entire communication process.